Shocking nobody that watches this channel regularly, I'm getting old. I turned 35 just last week. I had my first kid about 6 months ago, and I started this YouTube channel almost 15 years ago. In fact, the era of gaming that's behind me here on the shelf was much more new at that time. I actually just tore up my basement over the last couple of days, reorganized and restructured, and this entire side of the basement now is dedicated to my love of everything that's not Nintendo. And all of these games are my original games from when I was, I don't know, however old I was then, 20. And I've been thinking more and more lately about doing a video like this where I talk about being old and what gaming was like when I was a kid. I remember when the first ever paid cosmetic DLC was a thing. I think it was like a horse in Oblivion or something. And I do remember at the time thinking to myself, that is ridiculous. Cut to now. Cut to me now. I mean, just the other day, I was playing Fortnite live on Twitch with my friend Bob, and we realized the Sabrina Carpenter skin was available. And boy, howdy, you better believe we bought it. Hell yeah. What happened to me? It's because that's just the way gaming is now. Everything is DLC. Everything's microtransactions. Everything is live service and free to play. But how did we get here? You know, it's funny. A lot of people hate when a sponsor pops up in a YouTube video because typically it has nothing to do with what they clicked on. But for me, in this case, it's gonna be my favorite part because I get to sit here and film eating exclusive and seasonal Japanese snacks. Tokyo Treat is the more popular snacks that you'll find on store shelves when you're traveling and exploring Japan, and Sakurako is the more artisanal cakes and biscuits from local snack makers throughout Japan's countryside. Okay, I'm gonna start with Tokyo Treat as always. This month is Tokyo Treat Snack in Wonderland box. You have delicious double berry Kit Kats. That flavor is so strong. It's actually quite surprising. I really like it. Bala love French salad chips. Okay, I don't know what a French salad is, but these taste great. Merry melon bread, Silent Night salted butter truffles, golden potato rings. I love everything in here. The booklet provides information about Japanese culture and each snack's allergen information. Oh, no way. Santa literally left a gift in my stocking. I love these. It's like dark and malty and buttery. Now we're gonna take a look at Sakurako. This month Sakurako is holidays in Japan, filled with comforting flavors of Japan's wintertime with treats like matcha mochi. The texture is perfect. Milk chocolate strawberries. These were Kim and my favorites. They're freeze-dried strawberries coated in chocolate, and they're so good. Pistachio bakuchin, Hokkaido baked strawberry chocolate, packed in with a signature tea and even a kitchenware item. This time it was a cute little dish. I'm gonna try some of these little cashews. Oh, that is delightful. Make your holidays even merrier with Tokyo Treat and Sakurako snack boxes. Japanese best treats and teas delivered worldwide. Check out their holiday deals below or use my code BEATEMUPS for $5 off your first box. Thank you so much, Tokyo Treat and Sakurako, for sponsoring. And regrettably, we will now go back to the video. When I was born, an NES was already in my house. I had Mario Brothers 1 through 3. I had the Maxi 15 pack that came with games such as Menace Beach and Chiller. In fact, that's the Maxine 15 pack right there. I bought it recently when I went back to Australia because I wanted to relive my childhood. It's in a glass case now. Still haven't touched it. Now that's being an adult gamer. That's gaming in your 30s. You buy it and you don't play it. Back then, gaming was definitely simple. I mean, games were fairly straightforward and I don't want to say rudimentary, but they usually just did one thing and did it well for multiple hours until you beat the game. It was very rare to get games that mixed things up and really gave you the sense of adventure. I remember the first Kirby was one of those games. I never had Zelda growing up. My first Zelda was on Nintendo 64. And that's where games really started to come alive for me. Once we hit the 3D realm, the scope and the sense of adventure was unlike anything I'd experienced outside of reading a book or watching a movie. All of a sudden, I could play a protagonist in an open-ish world adventure and go wherever I want and meet characters and upgrade my weapons. And are you kidding me? But a game on the Nintendo 64 that I think is a standout, Super Smash Brothers. I mean, you look at games like Fortnite Fortnite, where the whole idea is a bunch of characters coming together and meshing in one giant game. For me and for many people, the first time we ever experienced that concept was in Super Smash Brothers. There would have been no sticking your credit card in at that point to unlock Luigi. You got like 8 characters off the rip, and then just by playing the game, you would unlock a ton more. For me and a lot of people, that's one of the things I miss the most about gaming growing up and back in the day, is everything was in the game. There was no DLC, there was no content patches that came later, there was no shipping the game before it was ready and hoping to fix it later over Wi-Fi. For better or worse sometimes, but for the most part, it forced developers and publishers to actually finish their video games and fill it full of fun content to make it worth the price tag. And that's exactly what a game like Smash Brothers on Nintendo 64 was. Then as I grew up, I got a GameCube, which was very much the same sentiment as Nintendo 64, where you get finished quality product games. Then you move into Wii, and it was around the Wii era where I started finally breaking free of Nintendo's shackles and leaning into everything the gaming world had to offer. I had a Wii, I had an Xbox 360, and I had a PlayStation 3. But this was still the time period before you could really squeeze a lot of money out of a video game. I mean, sure, DLC for some games were available, but you were still just making a fun video game and hoping someone bought it. And they were still taking risks because of that. It was just a time where we got some really unique experiences. We have games like Gun, games like Wet. This was my favorite type of video game at the time. Just a hack and slash action, Devil May Cry type game. This one was with a female protagonist, and you just got absolutely gory and bloody and sliced things up. Another example of that is Lollipop Chainsaw. I mean, gone are the times of getting a game like Brutal Legend. Another hack and slashy kind of game with an actually pretty interesting story. You had Jack Black playing the main protagonist, Tim Curry was the bad guy. Even cameos from Ozzy Osbourne, Rob Halford, Lemmy. I mean, what a product of the time. This is a side tangent, but that was back when Xbox actually delivered in their experiences. Games like Fables 1 through 3, which were for me essentially Xbox's Zelda. That's how I always saw it, and that's why I loved it so much. It was a different take on the role-playing adventure game featuring a kind of more of an adult, I guess, an adolescent character, casting spells and swinging a sword and meeting characters. I mean, cut forward to now, and Fable 4 is still nowhere to be seen. Xbox keeps canceling every video game ever, even the sequel to Perfect Dark. Now there's such an expectation on how much money a game can make, and these insane rising development costs that video games will get shut down because 1, it's taking too long, and 2, it's costing too much, especially when there's so many choices for video games now. I mean, indie games, I love indie games. It seems like the newest big smash hit video games that really blow up are these $5, $10, $15 indies that hit Steam and go viral on Twitch, and that's what everyone wants to play. People were playing Peak in droves, in millions of concurrent players playing Peak. Just a little indie game about a few guys in a proximity chat lobby trying to hit the top of a mountain with really basic controls. These are the games now that take the world by storm and beat these big publishers to the point where the big publishers don't even bother finishing their game, and they'll just sink the lost cost on whatever development time they've already put into it rather than try. And I think that's also a key point in all of this too. It's how much video games cost now. I mean, Rockstar's GTA 6 is costing $2 billion. I mean, Rockstar knows that they'll make that money back, but there isn't another publisher or developer that can take that risk, which is why risks are so less risky when you develop a live service game, because players can play it for free and then sink way more than $60 to $70 in skins. And I'm as bad at it as anybody else. It's funny to think about games like the original Sonic the Hedgehog series for like Genesis, which they made those games with just a couple $100,000, and a lot of us played Sonic and played those games growing up, and we bought those games for more than what video games cost now. Video games back then ranged anywhere from $50 to $100. There was Super Nintendo sports games in those magazines for like $120 in the 90s. Now that's like $200+ for a video game if you account for inflation. And they were making those games for a fraction of the price they make them for now. But a gorgeous video game will come out with cutting edge graphics and visuals, and we'll say that it costs too much. But comparatively, we're getting away pretty lucky. The gaming market is in shambles. It is not the free marketplace that it feels like it used to be back in this generation, where you could really do anything and hope for the best. I think that's why I really do love Nintendo. I know how I'm gonna sound, and I know Nintendo isn't a perfect company, but at least their focus outside of money is making fun video games. That really just does seem to be what they care about. They want to pour years in development time and costs into games like Zelda or Mario because they know that people will buy them because they're cherished and loved franchises. I mean, look at this year on Switch 2 alone, with a new Metroid, a new Pokemon, Donkey Kong game, which was made by the Mario Odyssey team, and it feels like a Mario game. We have a new Zelda around the corner, a spin-off one. We launched with a brand new Mario Kart that was $80 for some reason, but still, they really do just care about making video games. Where, again, you look at Xbox, they just don't care about video games anymore. They've said multiple times on record that they don't think exclusive games sell a console. So they're just canceling everything and way more focused on hardware. I swear, they're always coming out with new controllers, but they haven't got any games to play them with. This once great publisher and developer are now just focusing on trying to take whatever smattering of games they do have and releasing them on PlayStation and the Switch. And PlayStation isn't far behind. They recently said that they're looking way more towards multi-platform gaming and releasing all of their exclusives everywhere so that they wouldn't even be exclusives. I'm not sure why Sony has slowed down so much on making video games, because they really are, in their own way, the pinnacle and the top of their industry. And I feel like they make their money back. I feel like the money invested in something like God of War gets returned. So I'm not sure why Sony doesn't push out more. So as much as I love getting the occasional banger like the new Death Stranding, I feel like Nintendo is just able to consistently hit that quality frequently. Sometimes it feels like monthly we get something new from them. There are so many avenues and things that I could talk about when it comes to gaming back then versus now, but I think one of the scariest things that we're all facing is physical media and everything going digital. I mean, I sit here in front of all of my games, and it's cool that even in this Xbox 360 era, I could stick any of those games into a console right now and get the full experience because it's all on the disc. Now, more than likely, every game that you buy will have some kind of day one patch or updates that came a year or two after launch. And it's just the reality, again, that video games have too grand in scope. They've grown too large to be contained by physical media, which has storage limitations. A lot of games like Call of Duty are in the hundreds of gigs now, and we just don't make CDs that big. So in one sense, it doesn't really make sense for us as gamers to want to keep physical hardware because we're limiting the capability of these games. If we expect them to all be condensed and crushed into these lower formats, you're literally going to have less of a game at that point. So we want to keep the physical, but at what cost? It does make more sense for this media to go digital. It does make more sense for this information to be on the web cloud, whatever, for us to download at our whim. I mean, you look at movies, you look at TV, and you look at music. It was a relief when all of that went digital. I remember growing up with having to have DVD box sets of That 70s Show, and every 4 episodes I had to get up and change the DVD, one of 16 per season. It was a nightmare. And eventually we moved on so far that things went streaming. And I gotta be honest now, it's better than ever when it comes to things like music. To load up Spotify, pay the $10 a month or whatever, and be able to play any song I want whenever I feel like on any device. And I know at some point video games are going to be all digital. Maybe not me and my generation, but there's definitely going to be a generation that's thankful that it's all digital and they didn't have to deal with physical media. This is definitely an old person thing to care about. And now we face challenges like with the Nintendo Switch 2 and everything being a game key card. To be fair, that just doesn't make sense. If you're going to do the physical thing anyway and have it take up space in our game rooms, it may as well be the physical thing, especially when most of these Switch 2 games would fit on a cartridge. I had this conversation a lot through the Switch generation, people asking when I thought Nintendo would go all digital, and I really thought they would be the last one. I thought PlayStation and Xbox were probably in the last generation now with PlayStation 5 and the Series X, but I thought for sure Nintendo, the toy company, the physical, tangible company that sells us $50 amiibos because it knows that we like to own things and collect things from the company, I never thought they would be the first one to essentially do away with physical media. I think that they honestly thought that their Game Key carts were the perfect solution of bridging the gap, and it's just not. Really hate that they went that route. There are some good things about gaming these days. I mean, one thing that's been really nice is crossplay and cross-save. All of your friends had to be on the same ecosystem. For me and my friends, it was Xbox. But now, finally, in the year of our Lord 2025, you can play Fortnite, everyone's favorite game, on every console on your account. So if you wanted to then go play on your PC on your same account and have all your skins, you can. That is an evolution in video gaming that was sorely needed and actually makes a lot of this digital stuff actually have something about it that makes video gaming better. I also do love how much video games have been able to bridge the gap between friends and players and communities across the world. Now more than ever, we have so many unique and fun experiences that players and friends can jump into online and have long-lasting relationships with people that maybe aren't even in their state or their country. And the way that video games bring communities together, even in terms of Twitch, there are so many thousands and thousands of streamers and people that sit there live every single night and play these video games for their communities to bond and find happiness in, you know, find like-minded people. I guess the trade-off for that is I do miss just a bunch of friends in the same room. I mean, I mentioned the Xbox LANs. Man, I miss that. I've done it a few times here or there in my adult years. Bingle's come over and we've played Valorant in the same room. It's just not the same as it used to be. And couch co-op games, you know, Nintendo still tries to force couch co-op on us. They make games like Mario Party so restrictive online. Really, you get the most out of playing those games next to friends on a couch. And if you do have some adult friends who happen to also be into gaming, they can be some of the best nights playing Jackbox. The amount of times on like Friendsgiving, for example, everyone will come over and sure enough, at some point, we'll probably load up some Jackbox or some Mario Party or Mario Kart. It doesn't happen nearly as much throughout the year as I would like, but to be honest, those are the best gaming shared experiences, and the online doesn't really even come close. It's nice that it's possible, and it's nice that you can play games with people that can't come over, but if you can get some friends over, don't let that fade, because that is where real friendships are made. Or with Mario Party, where real friendships are broken. I know I said we don't get as many unique and fun experiences anymore from AAA studios, I mean, not like indies. Indies are crushing it in that aspect, but I will say that when we do, it still impresses the little kid gamer in me how incredible video games look these days. And I have always been the kind of gamer who chases the next peak of video game visuals, which I know is funny to come from me because most people only know me as the Nintendo guy, and ultimately all I care about is a video game being fun. A game can look beautiful, it can look incredible. If it's not fun, I'm not gonna play it. And Nintendo is where my heart lies, but there is this whole other side of me that even recently loading up Death Stranding on my PlayStation 5 Pro, just blown away by the visual quality, and it does always excite me to see technology take that next step. It's why I've always loved VR and the concept of VR, because I'm so excited to be a part of that technology now and be here on the ground floor watching it grow and enjoying these cool concepts and experiences. It's also why I love those Vicha glasses and even technology like that. I just love tech. I love the future aspect of video games, and I love advancements, and I love seeing video games grow. Thinking back to my NES and playing those 8-bit games as a kid and the massive leap, I still chase that high, that Ocarina high of, wow, look at this game. I mean, those are the experiences that I crave. And you know, that's part of evolution. We get all the crap and we get all the stuff that I don't like along the way, but every once in a while we get a God of War Ragnarok, or we get a new Naughty Dog, or the new GTA 6, which I am really looking forward to seeing how that not only pushes the limits of video games, both both visually but also gameplay wise, because you know that game's also going to be an adventure. And I don't know why it bums me out sometimes to think about the gaming industry now and that there aren't as many new cool experiences that there used to be, and the ones that we get now are so algorithmed and monetized out of their minds that they're not really even fun, but they're just addictive slop for you to play on repeat, when in reality, if there were more good games, I wouldn't have time to play them anyway. So I'm not really missing out. I just always wonder what could be if the gaming industry was in a healthier place. But I'm really curious to know what you guys think and what areas of gaming, past, present, or future, you have comments, concerns, or interest in. I have been thinking about this stuff for a while though, so it was fun to get it all off my chest. Okay, bye.